I'm bringing you my prophet news to alert people of what my readings have explained is going on, and that is that many American citizens are being robbed who are targeted, and they are robbed by what's called gang stalkers, who are also named the Mark of the Beast, the Deep State Cabal, and my organized crime ring, I call them, by the readings, and by what I've experienced being a targeted individual. And my readings say they call themselves the CPS Secret Court In-Home Investigator Spy Watch Committee folks. And they are on spy cam hacking, bugging equipment, and security cameras, robbing Americans blind. And my readings explain that many in the country are receiving government money they would not need if their money wasn't robbed. So that is costing America a lot of money, as they are forced into getting food stamps they wouldn't need, welfare they wouldn't need, disability they wouldn't need, unemployment they wouldn't need, retirement they wouldn't need. If they had their own money, they would not need any of it. So my readings say many are receiving government money that they would not need, that is costing the country a lot of money. And my readings say they are targeting 1,099 parents in their kids in the country all the time. And they rob money from all the family members in the targeted families that are on their lists. And I am explaining this as I have done readings on what was done to me for the past 20 years. And daily I do psychic medium readings to get crime tips and piece it all together to explain their very wicked system. And that is that by my readings, by God and Jesus Christ, who I channel, and by what I experienced that I'll explain, they are targeting parents that are unwed mothers and fathers who are in a nice family household setting, providing well for their family. They are targeting single mothers who filed for a divorce or legal separation. They are targeting parents who spend a lot of money updating a house, who move to another house and spend money on furnishings and decorating the new property they rent or buy, who buy new clothes and look nice. They are targeting mothers by their spending. And my readings say that is what they are doing to a lot of nice parents in the country, to frame them to lose custody when they should not, as they are not child endangering in any way. They are kind, loving, better than average parents, providing well, doing things the way they've done in their life, and the stalkers start stalking them, hacking them, bugging them, and make up stories about what they're doing, when it's always worked fine the way they do things for themselves and their family and their life. And they frame them when they put them on the list. And they do this by a 2 or more lied son of Satan conspiracy, who vote YES, clap clap symbol, by texting or aiming or messengering. They all agree to frame a nice parent by a capital YES and a clap clap symbol or thumbs up symbol, or even a tree branch symbol. And that's hard to believe, that so many mean people would target nice families to separate them, and to frame nice parents to be not needed. CPS secret court case files and regular case files by all calling and lying at the same time. And that's what my reading says they are doing across the country in 10 states approximately, by their CPS secret court based around the Ventura, LA County line. And so that and they are running depopulation, and they are robbing many American citizens blind. They are running them into getting government money they would not need to be receiving if they had their own money that is stolen by hacking, bugging, spy cam equipment, and security cameras. As my reading says, that's how they do this, silently, by their gang stalker equipment. And my readings explain they pick out who to target by searching divorce legal separation records to see if the mother filed and to see which parents are unwed. They check record hall records, then they decide who to target, and I'll do a thumbs up, capital YES, yes, set the parent up. And then they start in. And readings say they target people, parents who move into a new apartment or house after filing for a divorce, and they lie. They have to do a preliminary investigation on the parent when they do not. And it's many single and divorced moms they do this to. Readings explain, and readings have said that's what they did to me and my family. And, well, that's how I've been getting tips for 20 years and piecing them together to stop them from doing this to anybody ever again. As they are very wicked, just to separate a happy, nice family. They are very cruel to rob people's income they worked hard to make. They are very cruel to run them out of their homes they invested a lot of their money into, that they worked hard to buy. And on and on. And to steal clothes from houses and mailing money and their jobs out of their mailbox on posts they stock. That is what gang stalkers do to targeted individuals. That is what was done to me and my family that I will explain. And my reading says they pick out who to target, and that would be, say, a single parent who filed for divorce, who spent money updating their house to sell it. Then they would lie in reports to banks and post offices that single mom spent too much money updating the house and on clothes, and she needed the money for food and clothing for her children, so they want to set up a CPS secret court file. When no, the mother had 30 grand in the bank in their savings for bills for reserves, and had plenty of money and could afford carpet paint, tile, and new clothes, and had plenty of money to spend on her children. And that's a big lie they tell about high earners who've never been the type to get welfare or food stamps ever in their life, who've never been the type to worry about food and clothes for their children at all. And those are lies they tell about high earners, ambitious, productive parents who make a good living in their life. And they lie. They spent too much. They needed that for food and clothing for their children. We need to set up the mom to be a case file, get a hold of finances. When no, the mom had 30 grand in the bank to pay bills for 6 months. Plenty of money to buy her children great food and clothing and so on, and lessons. And they target moms who have plenty of money in the bank, who always make good money and provide well for their family. And that's what they do. They frame them to look like a different type of person, like they're the type who had to worry about money for food and clothes, when they are not and never have been. So that's what they do. As soon as they decide to put them on their hit list to target them, as they start lying in fraud reports, the parents spend too much on decorative items, furniture, updating the house, and so on, clothes. They start tallying up receipts, what they spent. They don't tell anybody. Well, they had 30 grand in the bank and bill money or reserve. Or they do say it and say, that mom's hoarding money. She's got 20 grand in the bank. She should have paid down her bill balances with that. When the mom's a responsible parent and homeowner, and they're keeping 20 grand in their savings to pay the household bills for months. So That whatever they do that's right, they make it look wrong. Whatever they do that's good, they make it look bad when it's great. Such as saving up money in their savings to be able to pay bills for months to come. They would lie, they're hoarding money. They should have paid down a bill balance. They should have put more down on their mortgage loan balance instead of getting an equity line to do the house and keeping money in the bank when they did it on purpose. They have a low equity loan payment, 50, 100 a month, did the house with that, kept their cash in their savings for bills. As responsible parents and doing things the way they've done during their lives that work great for them. And they target a lot of people who only spend cash who do not charge. And people who don't charge keep cash in their savings to live on it, to pay the mortgage and the bills, to pay for food and clothing for their kids. They'd rather get an equity line maybe on their house, 50, 100 a month payment, have extra cash for lessons for their children growing up and this sort of thing, or college, university, money. They might get equity from the house. So be it. And the gang stalkers say they should have paid their mortgage down, had a lower loan balance, and thought of interest they spent in their lifetime when they're spending money on their kids so their kids enjoy their life. And it just means the parents someday when they die, there'll be a higher mortgage to pay off. Or when they sell, they'll make a little less. But they enjoyed their life and spent some of their house equity on their children growing up. And they target parents who do this for their kids. And everything they do good for their kids, they lie is bad. And what they do right, they lie is wrong. And that's who they're targeting. Parents who spend money on their kids, on their house, on making their house a home, and think they are targeting parents by what they spend on their children. And that's hard to believe. They would frame people like that and lie they need to take custody when they have generous parents providing well and they're happy and loved with their blood parents. And they are targeting this type of person, my readings say, by tallying up receipts of what they spend, by gang stalker, spy cam hacking, bugging equipment, and security cameras, and lying their bad parents for what they spend when they think they're being great parents, spending money to make the family home nice for their kids, spending money decorating their children's bedrooms, spending money on their children's lessons and stylish clothing and great food and vacations. Christmas gifts. They think they're being great parents spending money, buying clothes for themselves, to be prosperous and successful, to dress for success, to have their place decorated nice so work customers could come by, to go out networking with work customers in a stylish outfit, to have dinner with them and this sort of thing. Everything they do for a purpose that they feel is right, they lie is wrong. Because they think dress for success. Go out when the kids are at their dad's and network with work customers and socialize. And everything they do is for prosperity, to be successful, to provide for their family. With the motto, you have to spend money to make money. Spend money on clothes to dress for success. Invest money in your business and have your property nice to have a little work party. And everything they're doing for prosperity that's worked well for them in their life, they lie is wrong. And somebody might go out and build up a closet of work clothes to wear for 5, 10 years, basic clothes like solid slacks and jackets, and build up work clothes to be prosperous, to be able to pull an outfit out of their closet. And many do this throughout history. And that's who they target also. If they spend $100 at Macy's on clothes, when they think they're going to make more money wearing those clothes. They think they're stretching their dollar. They'll wear them 5, 10 years because they invested in a nice wardrobe with their money they worked hard for. So they see what they're doing is positive and good, that will create more prosperity, and everything they do good, the gang stalkers lie is bad and wrong. My readings say, even if they go to a car wash or get their car detailed, they would lie they should have stayed home and washed it, and they they are using their work time well. And anyway, that's what my readings say. So the gang stalkers frame nice, good, loving parents to take custody away when they never should, when they're not child endangering. They're not beating or hitting their kids or slapping them or calling them names. They're not driving drunk, dealing drugs on their coffee table, whipping them with chains and starving them in a closet. Okay? People are supposed to, custody is supposed to be taken if the parent might murder the children, if it's life or death. Not because they spent too much that they saw on a receipt or they think they spent too much. That would just be a simple financial meeting, would it not? That would just be, in the real world of nice people, sending somebody a list. Here's some debt consolidation places you might call. That kind of thing. And that's all it is a simple financial meeting. And they frame people when they're in between jobs and change their career and you name it. When they just spent a lot buying a house, updating it, getting furniture, and they're going to live there forever, and the money they invested is for the rest of their life. And they frame them and act like they always spend a lot of money like that when it's a temporary phase of life of putting money down on a house, updating the house, paint, flooring, carpet, whatever it is, buying furniture they need. They're done spending, basically. And they frame them when they're not shopaholics. They're not out buying things at the mall every week or on shopping shows on TV. They spend money to last forever. To them, it's an investment. And that's who they're framing. People who spend $100 at Target, who buy a lot of household items at once. People who buy $100 worth of clothes at once. And to them, that is normal. They have often done that in their life. And that's who they are targeting and lying. They should lose custody for shopping when shopping is not parenting. The receipt amounts, that's not child endangering. And often they're buying things for their family in the family home, like dish towels and placemats and vases for flowers on the table, and making the house a home for their children to enjoy their family life in the property. And to them, they're being great parents, hanging curtains and buying new soap dishes, and that's who they're framing? Great parents who spend money on the family home so their children have a nice place to live with nice surroundings, who plant flowers and spend money at a nursery. That's who they're targeting and framing, my readings say. And my readings say that when a mother who filed for divorce or legal separation moves into a new property, they put them on the list to pretend they're going to investigate them. And they put a porch bugging box on the porch to bug the family members' conversations, and 2 spy cams inside over the doorways and a spy cam on the porch overhang, and say they're doing a preliminary in-home investigation to see if they need to go further. They say they're in a preliminary investigation on these named parents. And that's a lie, because they're not really investigating. They are framing the nicest parents on earth. Because what they do, my readings say, is they get that bugging box from the porch and they loop all the conversations the parents had with their children and teenagers. they loop the words with the artificial intelligence voice synthesizer that mimics everyone's voice. And they just sit pressing a button, looping every word. So if the mother said, "Oh, you look so great in that outfit you're wearing to school today," they would change the word great to awful. Or if they said, "I love you, Mom," they'd change the word love to hate. And so they reverse the whole thing and lie there's family discord. So they have to do a further in-home investigation by the preliminary investigation they did with the porch bugging box. Okay, that's how they frame people. And then they take the looped bugging from the bugging box on the porches to their CPS secret court, and they stand inside of it. My reading says it's the size of a telephone booth. And they have 9 devil CPS secret court booths that CPS secret court caseworkers stand in. Then they record the looped bugging box recording into their cell recorder. And they call that a CPS secret court hearing when they're standing in a booth, framing parents with looped bugging that they looped with an artificial intelligence voice mimicker. And they call that a CPS secret court hearing by their preliminary porch investigation the In-Home Investigator League did. And Brady says they're all related. The pretend in-home investigator men and the CPS secret court caseworker women. They are running depopulation in an organized crime ring by framing nice parents, by first looping the bugging. They also steal their UPS FedExes, their jobs and money off the porches by the spy cam they placed on the porch overhang. Then they have the gang stalker women who pretend they're CPS secret court monitors who zip around hacking and robbing the targeted parents' money. They have them type the looped bugging box recording the CPS caseworker recorded in their cell phone. Then they type the fraud framing report. Then they print it out, make copies, send it all over town, and send a false impression of the nicest parents on earth. And then they, that's how they start out. Then they put spy cam hacking, bugging equipment in the family properties. Then they edit the spy cam footage. They Photoshop it. They edit props in. They edit people in that weren't there. And you name it, to frame nice parents to look like they're somebody else. And that's what they do. And with the preliminary fake investigation on the porch, they send the fraud reports to authorities and say, based on their preliminary porch bugging box investigation, they need to do a further investigation, so they need them to approve them getting 9 keys made by a locksmith. Then they have a locksmith truck park out front, and they make 9 keys to the family homes and apartments. Then they use the 9 keys to go in and to steal the mother's clothing, for one thing, and then they put it together fake outfits, or they go rifling through drawers and closets to find anything they can that looks sexy, like a camisole they wear under a dress or a slip, or a tank top they wear under a jacket, or a tube top they wear under a blouse so it's not see-through. And many wear tube tops, camisoles, so their shirt is not too low. Say they have a V-neck shirt or dress, they wear a tube top or tank top camisole under the top. So part of it goes across the V, so they have no cleavage showing. So many women wear camisoles, tank tops, so on. And they do that on purpose so their dress or shirt is not too low. So again, what they're doing good and great for good reason, so they don't look too sexy, so their shirt's not too low and their cleavage is covered up with a camisole or tube top, they use it against them. And then they would take a picture of the tube top and camisole that never shows, that they never wore alone, and lie. These following mothers dress too hot and sexy. See the camisole and tube top we took a photo of on our cell on a whiteboard? They never wore it alone. They wore it so their cleavage did not show, so their shirt is not see-through. And my reading says they put together fake outfits that the mother never wore and take photos of them and lie they're out on the town wearing a hot, sexy get-up when the mother never wore it. They frame them with their clothes they steal, with the 9 keys they have locksmiths make, with the bugging, looped, fraud framing report. It's all a frame-up game to frame nice parents in the USA. And they rob 1,099 parents at a time in America. In the 10 states, they are targeting nice parents. And they are robbing around 90 or 100 parents in the San Fernando Valley, 80 business owners in Los Angeles County, including me, by hacking, bugging, spy cam equipment, looting trucks, security cameras, by their frame-ups and fraud reports. And so that's their wicked system. Also, as soon as they put down a parent's name or unwed couple parents to target them, they tell 1,000 people in the area, many they know, they're doing an investigation on the parent. Then, that ruins their income instantly, does it not? Then no one wants to call them for business. When they hear, oh, there's an in-home investigation on this parent. Oh, looky here at the receipts. Oh, look at the hot top they found in their closet. And by the gals on patrol, they zip around and log notes and whereabouts on parents. Oh, they're making a case file. All a bunch of BS. They're good parents who are doing nothing wrong. And they lie to 1,000 people and send them their PayPal they robbed by hacking with lies and say, pass it on for more pay. So they brainwash the USA with the parents' money they are robbing outright by hacking, that they are stealing from UPS FedEx trucks as they loot, that they are stealing from bundles of mail they take at post offices. They are paying people to brainwash America with the parents' money they are robbing from them, that they earned and they need to provide. So they frame parents to look like they don't make enough income for their monthly household bills when they do. And that's their other frame-up game. So first, it's the preliminary BS porch buggy, fake investigation. Then it's recorded in the CPS booth. They call it a builder room, like a dark room. A build-a-kit they buy online with a shelf in it, like you'd use for a craft or dark room, size of a phone booth or dark room. They stand in and lie, as I said, then type those lies to get 9 keys, to get clothes, to frame them with the clothes, to do spy cam and edit it with photoshopping, body doubles, and by throwing lingerie on beds that wasn't there. And it is a big frame-up facade game. It is edited spy cam footage. It is looped bugging. It is fraud and framing in reports. It is BS outfits the person never wore. And that is, they call it a floozy frame-up formula, where they make nice parents look like they dress too sexy to go have a hot, sexy time out on the town. when they're doing nothing of the kind. They're wearing nice, stylish outfits, covered head to toe, long pants, long sleeves, out socializing and network for prosperity. When the kids are at their dad's or a relatives or a friend's, and nowadays nobody's safe at anybody's friends' houses or relatives too probably, is they all get in this gang stalker ring to frame the nice parents to make money. Many are paid money to frame nice parents in this country. And that's very mean. And that is dirty money. That is selling their soul as low as you could go. To be paid stolen pay to pass on lies about parents is sickening and disgusting. So there's a big ring of laundering, embezzling, racketeering going on in America all night and day. They are paying 10,000 stolen PayPal, saying take the pay to pass the lines along. They're being paid PayPal robbed from parents to pass on lies to brainwash Americans. And that's how they do it. And they target them. They decide who they're going to target. And then, by their marriage status, by what money they spend on their house or clothes and so on, as said, and moving and everything else. And then they start lying 5 hands back also. So lies leak in to brainwash everyone. And as I said, they tell 1,000 people they're doing an investigation on the parent when they don't need to be doing one. They're over nice, loving, good parents, providing well. Then they lie. They got to run them out of their house because it costs too much. They lie. They don't much make enough income for their household bills. They lie. They won't be able to provide with food and clothing. So they got to run them out of their property they bought or rented and set them up to be a CPS secret course case file based on their actions. And it's all a lie and a game. To frame nice parents to take custody away. To rob the whole family blind, the mother and the children. My readings explain every day. And what they do is they start stealing their money out of the bank. And they frame a lot of people that keep money in their savings in reserves for bills as responsible, good parents. And they start stealing their money a little, maybe 4,000 at a time, or 1,000 at a time, or 500 at a time. And at the same time, they get their bills. They steal piles of files with the 9 keys a locksmiths make. And they make their bills look higher than they are. So say someone's mortgage around $2,500 a month, they would say, the Zillow's estimate says $5,000. Okay, so they'd lie a mortgage was twice as much as it is. They would raise the bill amounts, and they would make their bills look higher. Then they make their income look less. They don't use the real gross income. They use the adjusted gross. And so say somebody makes 150 grand a year, and they write off 40,000 from their mortgage interest every year and office rent, whatever else. Say they take 50 grand off the top, so they adjusted gross is 100 grand. So they would lie that's their gross when it's not. They would act like the mortgage, car payment, office came out of the adjusted gross when it doesn't. So that's what they do. They make it look like their income's less and their household monthly bills are more. At the same time, they're robbing their money out of their savings and bank accounts. And they lie. They have to get a hold of all these parents' finances. They spent too much on clothes, 100 at Target, 100 at Macy's. They spent more at the market on themselves than their children. Because they got gang stalker ladies parked and marking parking lots, tallying up receipts for what they buy at the supermarket. They got other ones parked in mall parking lots, seen what they spend at a mall. And if a mother spends $100 on clothes for herself, 20 on children's clothes, bingo, they say, red light flashing. Cap white, yes, clap, clap, set the mom up. She's spending too much. Bought too many clothes for herself. Then they lie, that's a bad mom who's self-centered. And things like this. And that's who they decide to target? Because they bought clothes for themselves? And spend 20 on their kids. When probably they buy their kids' clothes another day shopping. Many do that. And they might spend $100 and wear the clothes for 2 years. Money well spent. And they target them and frame them by what they are buying at malls and what they call supermarkets, by tallying up receipts. Text them all over town saying, see, lookity look, take a peek at the receipts for what the bad mom bought that we're focusing on to see what she's doing, to log her whereabouts and see what she's spending money on. She needed those funds for her kids, so we're setting her up to be a CPS case file. Here, take the pay. Vote YES clap clap symbol if you agree and pass it on to help us set up the mom named on the list. By the receipts are gals on patrol logged in the mall parking lot, in the supermarket parking lot. By the gals on patrol, 5 an hour zip around the property, taking money, mail, and bank statements out of the mailbox and clothes out of the houses with 9 keys to see what clothes the moms got. And that's how they're framing parents? By stealing their papers and clothes, their money from the bank they have for reserves for bills as good responsible parents and homeowners and renters. As many keep money in the bank for their bills. They transfer it to their checking on the 1st of the month, or the 5th, and they write checks and they pay bills with the money they had in their savings and reserves. And the gang stalkers say they should use the savings money to pay their bill balances down instead. They lie they're hoarding money and lie that's wrong, when that's how they run their finances that have always worked just fine for them. And my readings say they targeted me because I filed for a divorce in December '04 after being legally separated like a divorce January '05. So I had paid the bills alone as a single mom without child support or alimony for 5 years before I filed for a divorce. So it was like I was already divorced for 5 years. Then, in December '04, I decided I'm going to do new carpet, paint, tile, list, sell the house, and buy another house. And I'd been started shopping for a house in 2001. I wrote many contingent offers over the 4 years I was looking for a house, as I was a real estate agent then, shopping for my own property for my family. I needed a 1-story or bedroom bath down for my mom to live with us. She told me in '01 that's what she wanted to do. And so here I am, a good daughter, a good mother, and a good realtor, knowing I'm going to do carpet paint tile, the 2-story with all the bedrooms up, sell it, buy a property where my mom could live with us. So I was doing all this as a very good person, a very good parent, and a very good daughter. And that's a fact. So in December '04, I said, I'm going to refi the house, take 20 grand out, and I'm going to do carpet paint tile to list the house. And so my reading says they decided to frame me because I spent money on the 2-story house when I had 30 grand in my savings. I saw it recently on a receipt, on a bank statement, December '04, I had 30 grand in my savings for reserves for bills when I took 20 grand out of the house to do carpet paint tile. My reading says they lied that mom just filed for divorce, spent too much on the family home, and needed that money for food and clothes, and she spent too much for a single mom and things like this. When I had 30 grand in the bank for bills. So they just lie and make stories up. And I spent 20,000 on the 2-story, knowing I'd make 40,000 more selling it. So I was doubling the 20,000. And that is smart. That is good for your family to make more money selling your home for my children's sakes, to have a nice family home for them and my mom. So what I did was good. They would lie was wrong. What I did was good. They would lie was bad. And what I did was right. They would lie was wrong. And I knew it was right because I was a real estate agent then. I knew what to do to the 2-story to sell it and make more money, to have more money to buy another house. I did it all for a purpose and a reason. It was very planned out. And that's a fact. And my reading says they planned to set me up to their CPS secret court the day I had my longtime sober AA party at our 2-story house with a new carpet, paint, tile. After I lost weight on a diet, bought a new outfit at Nordstrom's. My reading says they planned to frame me that day when I was celebrating being sober in AA since February 9th, 1985, with new carpet, paint, tile in the house, a new outfit on after a low-carb diet, and they decided to set me up and lied. She spent too much for a single mother when I made a good living as a single mother, the same as a single dad real estate agent would make, the same as any realtor who might pay all the family bills themselves. So Marty says they decided to frame me because I spent money on carpet, paint, tile, and new clothes when I was celebrating that I was in my 20th year of sobriety in AA. That is hard to believe, that they would choose me, a long-time sober AA lady, to frame me. Okay, usually in the old days, normally there'd be case files if a mother was a practicing alcoholic drinking too much, or a father. Then in the old days, they'd say, get sober for 1 year and then you'll have custody. Old days, that's what they'd say. When I started in AA in the 80s and 90s, they would give a court card to people and say, get this signed at 2 meetings a day for 1 year, then you'll get custody back. Stay sober, get a birthday cake sponsor, and all of that. That's how they used to do it. So normally, a parent sober in AA a long time, people would say, hooray, and that is great. Marie says they framed me because I went to AA meetings in Malibu and AA conventions, when normally that's what they want parents to be doing. Normally, that's what parents who would be supposed to be doing. Okay? And that is why it's all reversed and backwards. As what I was doing good and positive, my reading says they framed me with that, when they should have said, oh, Nancy's sober since February 9th, 1985. She's going to AA meetings, AA conventions, into action with her AA program, helping people into AA, 12-stepping them, doing interventions, praying to God, and reading her meditation book every morning. She's a good AA lady and sober a very long time. That's how it should have been seen, as very positive. And my reading says they framed me because I had an AA party in a new outfit with new carpet paint and tile, February 27th, 05. My reading says some conservative women at the party decided to set me up to the CPS secret court because I spent money on carpet paint, tile, because I lost weight on a diet and wore a new outfit from Nordstrom's and had a party to celebrate my AA birthday. And Reedy says they lied that was too much for a single mother to spend. When, as I said, I had 30 grand in the bank. And around that time, maybe 25,000 at that time. And I always had 4 real estate listings, 7 buyers, escrows going, ads in the LA Times newspapers for my real estate listings. And I made a good living, just like a real estate dad who's providing for their family. And my reading says they slandered me outright to do ID theft to me and lied I spent too much for a single mother when they didn't even know what I made or had in the bank in reserves for bills. And I plan to do new kitchen tile and smooth ceilings for 8 years to that house. And I said I'm going to do all of that to list and sell it and buy another house. And I put in to refi the house December 04 to take the 20 grand cash out of the house to do it, so I'd still have money in the bank for bills. As I'm very good with money and finances and budgeting and planned it out very well, as I always have in my life. As I was a movie business person, a costume designer, and I would save all my money when I worked on a feature film or television series. I would keep money in my savings that I made as a costume designer. Then, in between shows, I would live on the money I saved. Then I wouldn't spend much of it till I started my next show, started putting checks back in the bank. I was the same way as a real estate agent. I would save up escrow money, say I'm putting this in my savings to live on to pay bills 2, 3, 4 months. And by the time I used up the savings money for bills, transferring it to my checking, writing checks, I'd have more escrows closing to put more money back in the savings. And that's the way I've always lived my life. I started in the movie business at 19 years old, 1979, and I always lived my life just fine, budgeted very well with my finances in my 20s, paying rent in Studio City, owning a townhome in Studio City. I never had a problem paying my rent or mortgages because I am great at budgeting. I am great at saving money in the savings for bills. And my reading says everything I do good, they lied was bad and wrong, when for me it was right and good and always worked for me fine in my life. And my reading says they said, set her up, she's hoarding money in her savings. She should pay bills down with. She should use that to pay her loan balance down and pay less interest monthly. My reading says that's what they do to everybody, when everybody doesn't live that way. Many want to keep their cash liquid for bills. They don't want to use it to pay a bill down or their mortgage down. They don't care if they're paying more interest. They like writing it off their taxes, maybe, like I did. Many buy a big property, pay a lot of mortgage interest, so they need the tax write-off. And the gang stalkers don't think of taxes. They lie about your gross income. They lie about everything when they start targeting you. And my reading says that they stole $198,000 from me. My reading says they stole my 2-story house equity I made selling my 2-story in 05. My reading says they stole my second loan refi money in 06 on the 1-story. And my reading says every time I made a big escrow deposit, real estate commission check from selling homes and estates, working hard, my reading says they skimmed off the top and robbed $4,000 out of my commission checks. So my reading says they robbed me blind. 05, 6, 7, 8, 9 by robbing my money out of the banks, by a CPS secret court case file that they say is top secret to get a hold of finances. And so they sat robbing me blind to frame me to look like the house I bought was too much for my income. Well, no, it was not. They robbed about $200,000 from me. They would have paid bills for a year or two, 2 years. And my reading says they planned it all out and stole my two-story house equity, October '05. Second loan refi on my one-story, February '06. Whenever I put an escrow check, money I made in the savings, they'd skim off the top and plotted to run us out of house and home and lied the house I bought cost too much. No, it did not. So I bought a one-story for around $1 million. I made $400,000 on the two-story. I bought it with my two-story equity, and I updated it with my two-story equity, and I bought furniture for it with my two-story equity. I also bought a new closet of clothes with a couple thousand of my two-story equity after a low-carb diet to be successful and prosperous. And I planned what I was spending. And I planned to spend $40,000 updating the one story. I planned to spend $3,000 on furniture and did. I planned to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on new clothes after a diet and did. And I was done spending. I built up a closet. I got furniture for the family room. I put my money down on the house, owned it. My payment was $26.50 a month and a 102nd. And I made 4 times the mortgage payment as a realtor and could easily afford it. And my reading says they made fraud reports up that lied. A single mom who just got divorced, a young single mom who just got divorced, who's too thin, spent too much on a house, it cost too much. The Zillow payment says $5,000, gonna escalate to $9,000, gotta run 'em out. No, my payment was $26.50 a month, and I was a middle-aged mother, 45 years old in '05. When I bought a house, I was not newly divorced. I had been legally separated like a divorce 5.5 years before I bought the house, planned it for 4 years, budgeted with my money, did what I planned, it went perfectly, and I sold many homes, was in the top 100 agents. I sold 5 homes my first year as a realtor, 1999 to 2000. I sold about 100 properties the 10 years I was a realtor from 99 to '09. And my reading says they lied. Too young, too thin, newly divorced mom. Bought a house that cost too much. Zillow payment says $5,000, gotta run 'em out. And my reading says that's what they did. To me, my kids, my mother, our poor cats went missing. Because my reading says they do cat nappings and dog nappings. And it's a very wicked, organized crime ring, bank robber, laundering, embezzling, postal crime ring. That's who they are. And I've done readings every day to figure out what they do. And reading says they're targeting 1,099 people all the time in America. And my reading says, after robbing my money from my bank accounts for 4 years, then '09, they said they're going to yank her money out, and then all lie and set her up to DCFS. And that's what the word they always use: yank the money out, yank it out. Because they are effing wicked, who rob nice parents and lie about them to set up a not needed case file at the same time and plan it out for years, months, weeks, or days. To rob them blind, to rob their mail and money and jobs and checks out of their mailbox on a post they stock, to rob their clothes from the house with 9 keys from a locksmith by a porch frame-up. And that's what they do. Then they do fraud reports to banks and post offices and lie. They got to get a hold of these parents' finances. See, look at the case file papers. We got to put their funds in another account. And that's what they do. And they rob bundles of mail at post offices with their fraud BS papers by the gals on patrol gang stalkers who steal clothes from houses with 9 keys locksmiths make that they put in a pot outside, who sit around lurking 5 women a day and an hour shift 5 times a day. They sit parking and lying around about nice parents to frame them to take custody away, because they are heartless, cruel, soulless, lowlifes, scum of the earth, as low as you could go, to be paid to frame nice parents, to take their children from them, to not give an F, that they're happy and loved, that the parents always been prosperous and is over nice to their kids, and they sit around purposefully framing the parents that they call in the readings the gals on patrol, zipping around properties 5 shifts a day, taking clothes from houses, taking photos of them on a whiteboard, texting the photos to City Hall Council people. Lookity, look, the hot top the mom's got in her closet. What do you say? She's dressed too sexy to be a mom. Don't you think so, babe? That's the smart-ass gals on patrol. That's what they do to nice parents and their poor children, babies, toddlers, teenagers, and their elderly parents who plan to live with the family like they did to us, because they are wicked witches of the West and the East and the South. And that's what my readings say. And why do they do it? They get paid to frame nice parents to ruin their children's lives, to rip their arms away with their liar frame-up fraud reports, by describing what they wear wrong, by lying about where they go, and say they write down whereabouts of parents named on lists. Whereabouts. Okay, that's a word for someone on probation. A criminal. That is not a word for a nice, wholesome, moral value, nice, good, kind-hearted mother. You don't say whereabouts about a good parent. That's a word for them. The criminal gang stalkers who steal clothes from houses, breaking and entering, who rob mail-in money out of mailbox on posts, who steal bundles of mail at post offices from hundreds of women on a list that they sit around and rob cash out of and tally up and paper clip together, to then go in banks with the piles of robbed cash they stole from the mail and say, slam this pile in that account, slam this pile in this account. What might it say? The children's college money, the children's Christmas gift money, the mother's business money, the mother's referral fee commission money, or whatever it is, book publishing money. They sit around tallying up money they rob. They steal teenagers' jobs and money too. All the family members' money. And they tally it up on a calculator, paper clip it together, go stomping in banks by these gang stalker, bank robber, mortgage brokers, and realtors who frame nice parents to make money. They also get shot up with meth and heroin, my readings say. They do it because they're drug addicts. My reading says they're shot up with meth for doing fraud frame-up reports. That they get piles of paper they rob from the houses with the 9 keys. Then they mark them up on the back with a pencil or pen. They cut the papers apart. Then they paste in fraud they typed on a glue stick form with putty. Then they Xerox it, make copies, stomp around with stacks of files in their arms, lying there covering finances of all the parents. Oh, right. No, they are robbing all the parents' money and their children's money. They are laundering and embezzling money. And they get shot up with meth to do a fraud frame-up file. Then they get a shot of heroin at night. From the CPS secret court medical observation men in their lab coats with shirts and ties who look like doctors and medics. Because it's a wicked system, isn't it? Yes. And that's what they're doing to American citizens. Also, if a parent has wired money for their business or inheritance money or anything, they get a big wire at the bank. The gang stalker mortgage broker deposits it in their account. They print out the deposit slip. They print out the bank statement to show the deposit. And then they yank it back out. Yank it out. That's the word they use, yank. Yank the money out. Then they send the deposit slip and the bank statement to whoever sent the money. See, it's deposited, sir. No, they deposited it and took it back out, so the person never gets their money. And they sit doing this all night and day at 10 banks around the county line. People are wired money that they are targeting and robbing, and they deposit it, send the slips to whoever sent it, so they think it's deposited, and then say they yank it back out. And that's the word yank. That is sickening. So the people who sent the money think the person received it when they did not. They also steal all their mail, open it, read it, and answer the letters. So sorry, the person can't answer you, but they're not available, and a bunch of BS. So they respond to their letters. They steal their money, pretend they got it, sit and hack and rob PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, loot UPS, FedEx trucks at 11 streets that cross the LA River in the San Fernando Valley at 9 o'clock with fraud papers. They do bank heists in bank parking lots to Brinks trucks with fraud papers, because they're a bank robber ring, silently stealing money from families in America by spy cam hacking, bugging equipment, and security cameras.